Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com. I made a video earlier on the upcoming Paul Williams versus Sergio Martinez rematch where I took Sergio Martinez to win the fight. Since that video was made, pursuant to WBC rules, the fighters weighed in 30 days before their scheduled match. The fight is contracted at 158 pounds. Right? Williams asked for the catch weight. The middleweight limit is 160. Martinez, incredibly, at the 30-day weigh-in, weighed 176 pounds. Now, I understand he was fully clothed, but you should also understand that Martinez is 35 years old. He's on the wrong side of 30 for elite level boxing. Now, those who have read How to Bet on Boxing know that I look at weights carefully and I stay away from betting on fighters, especially fighters on the wrong side of 30. And here Martinez is 35, who have to spend their training camps losing weight instead of learning new skills, focusing on strategy. For that reason, even though I believe that Martinez is the more talented fighter and is the likely winner of this rematch, I'm going to stay on the sidelines gambling-wise, and I would encourage bettors to take a close look at Martinez's weight. Keep in mind, we're already in the last 30 days. There are some reports that Martinez has gotten his weight into the 160s and is only about 11 pounds away from the 158 target. But still, that's just too close for my comfort. And while I believe Martinez is going to win the fight, I'm going to watch it as a fan. I cannot recommend that any gambler put money on this fight. Weight is a serious issue. I believe it affects you in three ways. The first is the way I just described. You're using training camp to get in shape, whereas fighters who are always in shape, like Floyd Mayweather, like Paul Williams, who, believe it or not, only weighed 162 pounds. In other words, he only has to lose 4 pounds to make the 158 weight limit. And Williams told an interviewer that he had just eaten before stepping on the scale. A guy like Paul Williams, a guy like Floyd Mayweather, guys who are always in shape, David Haye, they spend their camps just learning strategy and focusing on the other fighter, as opposed to the guys who have to drop considerable weight. Keep in mind, Martinez weighed 18 pounds over the contracted 158 within 30 days of the fight taking place. He's going to be out running treadmills. He's going to be in saunas. He's going to be, starving himself to lose weight, whereas the Floyd Mayweathers of the world, the Bernard Hopkinses of the world, they're able to eat normal foods. That's the first way it hurts you. The other two ways is I believe it drains stamina. Practically every fight I've seen, in fact recently, the Sergio Mora versus Vernon Forrest fight, the rematch, where, in my opinion, the only reason Forrest was able to win that rematch, and I was a big Vernon Forrest fan, was because Mora clearly was weight drained. In that fight, you could tell, as that fight went along, that by the time we got to the 7th round of that fight, Sergio Mora was a shell of himself. Right? History is replete with fights like that. The Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran rematch, the No Mas fight, where apparently Mike Trainer, Ray Leonard's representative, got word that Duran was up in the 180s, had to lose weight, and then, of course, convinced Duran to fight the rematch literally that fall. And of course, Duran was able to make weight, but was completely winded, and of course claimed that he quit in that fight because of a stomach ache. Well, all I'm saying is here, Martinez is fighting a guy, Paul Williams, who is a volume puncher. He's much younger than Martinez. Um, Williams is a draining fighter to fight, even when you're 100%. He's constantly cutting off the ring. He's throwing 100 punches around. You know, you can't fight in spurts like guys like Bernard Hopkins have made careers of doing, right? You're on all the time. You know, you have to figure out what to do with Williams's punches. Williams doesn't even clinch. He just comes in throwing punches. He's exactly the wrong kind of opponent for a fighter who might have stamina problems due to rapid weight loss later in that fight. Let me also point out, too, that stamina until now has been one of Sergio Martinez's calling cards. He's blessed with some of the best stamina in the sport. And so it's a little bit discouraging to see him so badly overweight, having to lose weight. He claims that he's lost weight before. Sooner or later, it catches up with a fighter. Fans of Ricky Hatton know well what I'm talking about. Speaking of Ricky Hatton, that brings me to the third problem that rapid weight loss before a fight causes. What I've noticed is that the fighters who lose weight before fights, they just don't have the same chins. In other words, you know, the body is a weird thing, and if you're going to lose 10, 15 pounds in the last 2 weeks before a fight, you'd be surprised at how many of these guys get badly hurt in the ring. Just do Google searches on boxers who have literally died in the ring, and you're often going to find out that these guys had to lose a lot of weight right before a fight. Take a look at the weigh-in of Ricky Hatton versus Manny Pacquiao. Ricky Hatton looks gaunt. Keep in mind, Ricky had been fighting at 147, lost the weight to get back to 140. Then, of course, he went out, got knocked out in the second round. There was a time when Ricky Hatton was known for having a great chin. Look at Hatton earlier in his career when he fought Costa Tszyu, right? Big hitter, guy who stopped Zab Judah in 2 rounds. And, you know, Hatton had a great chin. But Hatton, whose nickname was Ricky Fatten, was literally yo-yoing his weight up and down, and I think that actually affected his game. In fact, if you go around the world of boxing and look at some of the best and brightest, Andre Ward, Lucien Boutte, Bernard Hopkins, Floyd Mayweather, you're going to find that the one trait with all of these guys, the Klitschko brothers, is they're always in shape. In fact, Vitaly Klitschko keeps himself in such great shape that he literally accepted a match against then heavyweight champion Lennox Lewis on something like 2 weeks' notice and gave Lewis all he can handle. In fact, when that fight was stopped on cuts, Vitaly Klitschko was actually winning the fight on the judges' cards, right? Sergio Martinez is facing all of those risks, right? He's going to be spending camp, losing weight, not focused all on strategy, right? Because he's losing the weight, who knows how his stamina is going to be in the latter rounds of a fight against a younger man who is already pretty much at weight. And then, of course, you know, both he and Williams landed a lot of big shots in that first fight. Take a look at the CompuBox numbers online, and you just have to wonder how his chin is going to take it. So if someone put a gun to my head and asked me who do I think is going to win the fight, I would say Sergio Martinez. But I'm going to back away from my recommendation in the earlier video that you bet on this fight. I think it's too risky, right? Fighters who yo-yo their weight, that works when you're in your 20s. That doesn't work when you're in your mid-30s. I think that it's an issue. Let me also point out, too, if you're a risk taker, and trust me, I've had my risk-taking days. If you're a risk taker, the weight problem makes it more likely that Martinez might have to change his strategy and go for a knockout, because he's going to know that he might not be in shape to fight the 12 robust rounds that he fought when these two fought their first fight, right? He might actually try to sit down on his punches to try to take out Paul Williams because he might privately know that he's the bigger man. Not taller, but heavier, more stout. Let me also point out, too, that counterpunchers tend to do better in rematches after they've cracked the code. And I believe just looking at the videos of the first fight, the fact that Martinez starts hitting him with hooks and hard shots, hard counters late in that fight, I think that that might be a sign that Martinez is going to pick up where he left off in the first fight and actually try to turn it up a notch. Because one way to hide under training, lack of stamina, is to get the knockout and end the fight early. So I do feel that if you're a total risk taker, just know that the weight problem, ironically, might actually increase the odds of Martinez winning this fight by stoppage. In any event, I'm going to be on the sidelines. Good luck to the hardcore, and my advice to all gamblers, hardcore and lukewarm, is to pay real close attention to the weight as you get down to the fight itself, right? If you're hearing that Martinez has to lose, 7, 8 pounds the last week of the fight, then that's something you want to definitely consider before you place any action on this one. Let me know what you think. Visit us at gamblersadvisory.com and pay attention to the weights in this one. They're telling a pretty big story, and we're still weeks away from the fight. Thanks for watching.